this interview, Ray Dalio has stated that this is bigger than what happened in 2008. Let's let Ray Dalio explain his thoughts.
Well, I think you could look at this like a tsunami that's hit the virus itself and social distancing. And then what are the consequences in terms of the wreckage when you look at it? And I think you have to think of that as incomes and balance sheets, you know? So it was a tremendous income hit. And then the balance sheets, losses, and who has what savings, and so on. And then how is that dealt with? And in order to understand that, you have to realize that there are these holes in income and the holes in the balance sheets. And then you have to realize that there is the production of money and credit. And who produces that money and credit? Okay, the money and credit comes in different flavors. There is US dollar money and credit. There is euro dollar money and credit. And so when you look at the world and you're seeing a situation that is the same as existed really in the 1930 to 45 period, in that now we're seeing the production of a lot of debt, a lot of borrowing by the government. We're seeing zero interest rates and not the traditional kind of monetary policy, but the producing of a lot of money and credit. So the Federal Reserve is buying the Treasury's debt, and the Treasury is getting that money to mostly Americans in some imperfect but remarkably large way. And the Europeans are doing the same in their way. That bank is a smaller bank because the world lives with about 70% dollars and only a small percent euro, and they will produce theirs for theirs. And there aren't many banks around the world. And so the rest of the world is going to have gaps, holes that won't be filled. So if you think about that and you say, American printing of money and the borrowing will leave us with a lot of debt and monetization. That's something interesting to talk about, and we need to talk about that. Who will pay these bills, and how will that be shared will be something we need to talk about. But you will know that you will get that money, and that the Europeans will get their versions of that money. But we are in a new world, and that world is most similar to the 1930 to 45 world, and a lot of the world will not get that money in credit.
Now, what we do in this video are some keywords like recession and depression, and we will learn about the history, like the past recessions and the Spanish flu, so we can kind of better understand what may happen now in 2020 and why we might have a depression. We will also be learning the best ways to trade during the pandemic. Now let's look at some keywords. Well, the first keyword that we need to know is correction, which is a 10% decline. The next one is a bear month, which is a 20% decline. The next one would be a recession, which is a 6-month or more decline, which we'll be using a lot in this video. The other one would be depression, which is a 2-year or more decline. Now, if we look at this chart, we see, if we look closely, we can see that during the Spanish flu, it is very similar to our economy as of now. So that is why we may actually end up having depression. Now you may be wondering, okay, but we did not have a depression during the Spanish flu pandemic, so we may not have one now. Well, that's completely wrong. Why, you may be wondering? Well, that's because we were not actually due for a depression during that year. So we did not have a depression, we just had a recession. Now, on the other hand, we are due for both a recession and a depression. So that's why we don't have a depression in 1917, but we could have one in the year 2020. As Mark Twain, a famous novel writer, once said, history never repeats itself, but it does rhyme. Now we're going to be talking about the past recessions and depression. Now, first up, we have the 1918 to 1919 recession. The GDP, gross domestic products, fell 4.3%. The unemployment rate was 1.4%. The S&P 500 share cost $100. The oil per tank was $29. The gold increased 6.1%. Up next, we'll be talking about the Great Depression, where the GDP reached negative 26.7. The unemployment rate was 21.3%, and the S&P 500 share cost 473 in 1929, 329 in 1930, and $82 in 1932, and $115 and the oil was $147 a barrel. The gold went from $20 an ounce in 1929 to $35 an ounce in 1934. Next, we have the recession that lasted from 1937 to 1938. The GDP was negative 18.2%. The unemployment rate was negative 19%. The S&P 500 cost $115 and the oil was $21 per tank. The gold was $34 per ounce. Next, we have the 1949 recession. The unemployment rate was 7.9%. The GDP was negative 1.7%. The S&P 500 was roughly $100, and the oil per tank was $19. The gold was $200 per ounce. Now, let's go back to the year 2000, because if I were to mention every recession that happened from 1949 to 2020, we would be here all day. So let's start from the year 2000 recession. The GDP was negative 0.3%. The unemployment rate was 6.3%. The S&P 500 cost $2,132 per share. The oil was $27.6 per barrel, and the gold was $272 per ounce. Next, we have the 2008 recession. As many of you may know, the employment rate reached 10.10%, and the GDP was negative 0.1%, and the S&P 500 share cost $1,600. The oil was $104 per tank or barrel. The gold was $869 per ounce. Now you may be wondering, why did we just go through all of this? Well, don't worry, I didn't just waste your time. This helps us better understand how the 2020s economy was similar to the past recessions, so we can predict what may happen as we're approaching a recession and a potential depression. What may happen to the oil, the oil prices in this recession, and gold and the GDP and the S&P 500. Now let's listen to some COVID-19 information with Bill Gates.
Is this a question about what tools are available for countries that maybe don't have the luxury of being able to social distance, don't have great health systems in place? How should they be handling this virus?
Yeah, I would say that if the rich countries really do their job well, by the summer, they'll be like China is, some of the other countries that responded early. But in the developing countries, particularly in the southern hemisphere, the seasonality is large. As you say, the ability to isolate, when you go out to
testing data, we'll get more of a sense of that, and people will continuously be able to see that. But, the rich countries will get out of this. The developing countries will bear a significant price, but even we will get a vaccine, and Gavi will get that out to everyone. So, 2 to 3 years from now, this thing, even on a global basis, will essentially be over with a gigantic price tag. But now we're going to know, okay, next time we see a pathogen, we can make billions of tests within 2 or 3 weeks. We can figure out which antiviral drugs work within 2 or 3 weeks and get those built up. And we can make a vaccine, if we're really ready, probably in 6 months, using these new platforms, probably the RNA vaccine. So specifically, there are innovations that are there that will get financed, I hope quite generously.
Now let's get into some of the best ways to trade and how you should not trade. First off, what you should not invest in is oil. Because if you have been following the news, you probably know by now that it is very unstable. Number 2 is real estate. And number 3 would be stocks or currencies. Now the things that you should invest in are materials such as gold, silver, and platinum. Now, why am I only stating materials? Well, that's because the American Bank has actually said that the gold will reach an all-time high of $3,000 an ounce, which is roughly $350,000 for a kg, which is the highest it has ever been in the history of the Dow Jones. Now, that's all for today. If you liked this video, be sure to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications to be notified every time I post a video. That's all for today. See you next time.